Just on the other side of a mysterious portal located deep within the woodland cascades lie the seemingly dormant ruins of a Mersat prison. These ruins, dubbed the Bastion of the Penitent, hold many dark secrets the Mersat wished to lock away. Not far from that mysterious portal stands the Bastion's solitary guardian. Perhaps he was placed there to keep intruders out, or perhaps instead to keep whatever lurked inside trapped within. This guardian is the first obstacle of the Bastion of the Penitent, Cairn the Indomitable. Cairn's mechanics will start to show themselves even before you enter his boss arena. Simply walking under the waterfall just before his platform will enable a new skill on your special action hotkey. This skill, called Celestial Dash, will give you a fast-moving, ground-targeted evade. It can be used to move across Cairn's arena quickly and with ease. Familiarize yourself with it before even attempting the boss. Immediately after aggroing Cairn, your melee team will begin to notice rifts, or galaxies, outlined in red appearing on the ground beneath them. These rifts function similarly to the blue circles from the Veiled Guardian fight. They will appear, then 2 seconds later turn purple and detonate. Any players hit by this purple detonation will be immediately teleported to the edge of Cairn's arena. Repeated instances of players getting teleported will quickly cause DPS to plummet alongside a few other issues that'll be explained a bit later. Cairn's primary attack remains consistent throughout the entirety of the fight. It has a very simple animation with straightforward mechanics. Cairn will swing his arms 3 times. First, he swings with his right arm, followed by his left arm. These first 2 swings will do moderate damage to anyone standing in front of him, but are easily avoidable. However, after the first 2 swings, he then swings again with his right arm. This swing will spawn several projectiles that travel across the ground, picking up and carrying with them any players that they hit. You'll be interrupted and knocked back if you get hit by these projectiles, so either dodge them, block them, convert them, or destroy them. Reflex are not recommended, as you can reflect the projectiles back into his hitbox, interrupting and damaging your melee team. One of, if not the most important mechanic in this fight, is Shared Agony. Shared Agony is a debuff Cairn will give your players periodically throughout the fight. Starting first with 1 player, then 2, then 3, then for a brief moment 4 players will all have the Shared Agony debuff. Shared Agony is applied to the furthest player from the boss, hence, you can manipulate who will get the Shared Agony by positioning someone further away from Cairn than the rest of the group. The debuff will give you a large red AoE around your character. It does minor ticking damage to you, but will severely hurt and quickly down any nearby allies. Shared Agony is applied to new players every 20 seconds, and it will last on that player for 60 seconds before expiring. Just as Cairn has a mechanic similar to the Veiled Guardian's blue circles, he also has a mechanic similar to the Veiled Guardian's green circles. Periodically throughout the fight, Cairn will proc multiple attacks in which he will spawn several green circles across the floor of the arena. Players must quickly find and get inside of one of these green circles. If they fail to do so, they will be lifted into the air, take a large chunk of damage, and will continue to accumulate a debuff called Unseen Burden. Unseen Burden is a stacking debuff you get every second you fight Cairn. As it stacks in intensity, your movement speed will be incrementally decreased. Eventually, you will become petrified in place, unable to move at all. However, this mechanic is easily counterable by standing in the green circles when they appear. Each green circle attack you successfully avoid will remove a substantial amount of your Unseen Burden stacks. There are 4 notable attacks in which these green circles appear. The first, and easiest of the attacks, is used once and only once by Cairn. Immediately after aggroing Cairn, he will do 1 iteration of his auto attack, followed by an attack where he will spawn a single green circle. The circle spawns in the same location every single time Cairn is aggroed. You can mark it with a squad marker to make the start of the fight easy and repeatable. The second kind of green circle attacks are easily the most confusing of them all. Periodically, Cairn will begin an attack in which he spawns several differently sized green circles on the ground. The size of the green circle is not arbitrary as many may be led to believe. Each of these green circles has an image above it depicting what appears to be stars. These circles will be rated either 1, 2, or 4 stars. This correlates directly to the minimum amount of players required in that circle. If you have less than the required players, you will take the attack as if you were standing in the open, not on a green circle at all. It's worth noting, by the way, that there is no maximum amount of players for these circles. The third of the green circle attacks may be the most dangerous for a distracted player. The attack begins with Cairn teleporting himself out from within the center of the arena. He will teleport to the edge of the playable area, and drop a green circle where he reappears. He will repeat this teleportation 4 more times, to the maximum of 5 green circles spread all across the arena. The circles function the same as in the previous attacks. However, the added caveat is that any player standing in Cairn's path when he teleports will be knocked back an incredible distance. This more often than not results in death. It is imperative that all players watch the cursor at Cairn's feet to identify which direction he will teleport next. The fourth of the green circle attacks, while worth mentioning, is very uninteresting. It is essentially just a random spawning of large green circles scattered across the arena. There is no added caveat to them, and they have no player requirement. Just locate the nearest one and celestial dash into it. The next attack we will discuss is likely the hardest mechanic for a player learning this fight to nail down. I'm unsure of the official name for it, but my static group and I have been calling it
the Long Dick of Justice
since the day Bastion of the Penitent released. The attack begins with Cairn raising his arm high into the air. The arm extends itself into a massive 40-foot long jade cock. Cairn then slaps his fully erect member onto the arena floor and violently helicopters it around. If the attack is not dodged, you'll be knocked back 1 or 2 times, and this usually leads to your death. The final mechanic Cairn has is an attack he will infrequently start to use at about 20% health. Cairn will summon from the ground several jade rings that start just outside of his hitbox and pulse out towards the edge of the arena. Those stacked inside of Cairn's hitbox will be left untouched, and the rings are relatively easy to dodge for those sitting at range. However, if you are hit by one of the rings, they will knock you back, usually just in range for the next ring, which will in turn knock you back again, leading to a nasty chain of CCs that may very well throw you off the edge. The first recommendation I would like to discuss is the team composition. Since Bastion of the Penitent has come out, my group and I have cleared Cairn multiple times, each time slowly evolving a composition we're getting very comfortable with. The first boss is very relaxed with an enrage timer that effectively does nothing, so DPS is only an issue on Cairn if you're looking to speed clear him. For that reason, the composition I recommend is extremely off meta. I'd recommend running 3 ranged classes with high survivability. Our composition uses 3 necromancers for this, 1 dedicated healer for the ranged members, I play Oromancer for this, 1 or 2 melee healers, we usually run druids for their Grace of the Land, 1 PS warrior, 1 chronomancer, and then fill the remaining 2 or 3 slots with some pure DPS classes. Next, I have a couple of recommendations on using this team composition. First and foremost, mark a location on the arena where your ranged classes and their healer can congregate. You'll notice that I've marked a location on the arena for my team with a star icon. This makes healing easy, and if you brought Reapers, they can very comfortably stagger Corrosive Poison Cloud to destroy the projectiles Cairn fires in his main attack. To fill any gaps in the Corrosive Poison Clouds, I cast Swirling Winds on my focus for more projectile destruction. If you don't bring an Oromancer or you don't bring Necromancers, any kind of projectile destruction will work. Just remember, stay away from projectile reflection. My next recommendation is specifically for the first numbered green circle phase that spawns 40 seconds into the fight. As the largest green circle will always spawn in the same spot, just an arm's length away from your melee team, stack every one of your melee members tightly on the edge of the circle, nearest to the boss. Then, have members of your ranged team occupy the outer half of the circle. This will ensure that one of your ranged members will get the next shared agony, as Cairn applies it immediately after this green circle phase. My final recommendation is to keep going. That is, keep going until the last member of your party wipes. Many players have a tendency to GG after 1 or 2 members of their squad die, and this makes sense for most raid bosses in the game. However, Cairn is different. Cairn is a soloable raid boss, even without the use of any exploits whatsoever. It only takes 1 man to kill Cairn, so keep going, even if there are only a few squad members left alive. Keep fighting until the bitter end.